Hello, everyone. Today we will continue with solving entrance exam questions. So let's start with the first question. The exam that was solved today is 2019-2020. The 2020-2021 is not published because of that time there wasn't entrance exam because of COVID. So let's move on to the first question. Now, as usually, the first question is order of operations. Let me highlight which operations should be performed first. Clearly, we can perform simultaneously division, multiplication here, and after the division, we can perform the second multiplication that we see. So we can copy everything else. That's -1 plus 6. Now, -4 divided by -4, negative divided by negative, that's positive, and 4 divided by 4, that's 1 times 3 plus 2 minus 1. All right, if we wanted, we could have performed this part here, so 2 minus 1, but anyways, let's stick to the order of operations. So we will finish with multiplication now. -1 plus 6 plus 3 plus 2 minus 1. We can cancel if we want. -1 and 2 and -1 cancels because that's -2 and 2. But if you don't want to cancel, you can add everything. And let's see the positive ones, 6 and 3 and 2, that makes 11. And negatives make 2. So we get the answer 9. The second question is we have to find which numbers make this result. So find the biggest value of Yahya if, for example, each digit, let's say y here is 9, the other y must be 9 as well. Right, so there are some options given. We can test each option. So let's see if this number 91391 corresponds to Yahya. Well, that means y corresponds to 9. So we substitute there. So we get 913 plus 91. What do we get? We get 401000. Clearly, this is not the case because we should get a 3-digit number. The middle one should be 7. Let's try something else. So y is 8. That means we have 881. Just a second. Yeah. Age y here. So age is 3 and y is 9. So we have to add it in this order. 3 and 9, that's 2 carry 1. That's 5 and 9. Great. So again, this didn't work because the middle number should have been 7. So now we have 881 and age is 1, y is 8. Now we try to add this up. So we get 9 and we get 9 and then we get 8. Again, it's not working. So let's try under C. We get 844 plus 48. If you add, you'll see that you won't be able to get 7 here. So 83008. And you add this up, you get 838. And the final one, hopefully this one works. You get 82448. Now 4 and 8, that's 12, carry 1, 1 and 2 and 4, that's 7 and 8. So actually y corresponds to 8 and a corresponds to 2. So this is the number that works. So 82482. Next. A and B are natural numbers. Find the maximum value of A times B. Well, we can test, because it says natural numbers, we can test it. So 1 plus 23, it's 24. So you can test 1 times 23, it's 23. Then 2 plus 22 is 24. Then 2 times 22 is 44. And if you try everything, you'll see that when you reach 12 plus 12, that's 24. But here it says it shouldn't be equal. A should not be equal. Actually, this is the maximum, but because it says it shouldn't be equal, then 11 plus 13 should be 24. And now the maximum will be 11 times 13, which makes 143. So B is the answer. Calculating or some mixed operations with fractions, so multiplying mixed numbers. What do we get? The first one we can first convert it into an improper fraction. 4 times 3, that's 12, and 3, that's 15, times 3 times 2, that's 6, and 2, 8, and 4 over 40. I believe we can just cancel this and this. And if you want, you can directly multiply, or you can separate it into factors. For example, that 15 times 8, you can separate to 5 times 8 times 3, because 3 times 5 in this order. So 3 times 5 times 8, and here 3 times 40. Now, why I did separate it like this? Because on entrance exam, you won't have much time, and you have to cut corners, which means instead of writing 15, I wrote 3 times 5, and then I can simplify these. So the answer is just 1. Next, one of the interior, we have to find the interior angle of this regular pentagon, and we had a formula. The formula is this one. If we don't know where the formula comes from, it comes from, we get 3 triangles. So 5 minus 2, that makes 3 triangles. In this case, that would be our formula. 5 minus 2, and 1 triangle is 180. So we will get 5 minus 2 times 180, the sum of all the angles. Because it's regular, we need to divide by the number of angles, which in our case it's 5. So we get 3 times 180 over 5. That is 3 times 36, which is 108 degrees. So 108 degrees. What is the measure of the angle OBC? Now, there is this circle given, and O is the center of this circle. We can easily find the measure of the angle OAC and OCA. We know that the measure of the angle OAC is equal to the measure of the angle OCA. How do we know that? Well, the sides OA and OC are, and also OB, these are all equal sides because of being radii to the circle. Great, that means if I label this side X, I get 2X plus 70 is equal to 180, which means 2X is 110, which means X is 55 degrees. Great, now we found that this angle is 55. We are not actually looking for that angle. We are looking for the interior ones. So you could have chased all the angles. So find everything. But actually, you can shortcut everything here, as you have the formula here that I showed to you. You don't need to find these angles if you directly go and find the ones that you are looking. Let's say I label this angle as y and this angle as y. For the same reason, these two angles are having same measure. Now, I can find this angle here being 110, but I can also use the formula that you see on the right. Well, you get y plus y must be 70 degrees. The property that one exterior angle is equal to the sum of the other two interiors. So 2y is 70. That means y is 35 degrees. And this would have been the shortest way. You don't actually need to find the first angle. If you went and found it, no problem, but just waste of time. Here we have a number which is like y point y over y point y plus k point k, which is like a number, right? Over k point k. Well, if I factor a y in front, what's left? Well, it would be 1.11. And if I factor a y here, it would be 11.1. Plus, if I factor a k, I get 11.1 over, I factor a k, and I get 1.11. Then these numbers cancel out, and I'm left with 1.11. I can write it as a double fraction. By the way, there are shortcuts here. So I can write it 111 over 100 and 111 over 10 plus 111 over 10, 111 over 100. Cancel, 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 cancel. You get 10 over 100 plus 100 over 10. That's 0.1 plus 10, that's 10.1. So the answer should be under D, 10.1. Next is working with exponents. So there are these common formulas here to deal with exponents. We may just divide the fractions here and see what we end up with. Clearly, this y to the power 7 cancels. So the way we divide numbers with same base is we copy the base and we subtract the numbers. 5 minus -9. We shouldn't just write 5 minus 9 because that would be adding the fractions. So here we need to subtract them. So 5 minus -9 times z to the power 9 minus -5. And all this to the power 1 over 2. So it makes x to the power 14 times z to the power 14 all to the power 1 over 2. And that means it would be x to the power 14 over 2, z to the power 14 over 2, which makes x to the power 7 times z to the power 7. That would be E. A driver drives 110 kilometers in the morning, 92 in the afternoon, and 118 in the evening. How many kilometers does he drive totally? Well, just add up everything. 110, 92, 118. So 0, carry 1, 10, 11, 12, 31, 320 kilometers. You could have even guessed close to 100, close to 100, close to 100. So the answer should be close to 300. The only one close to 300 is this. Next question is solving a linear equation. So we have 8 minus 2x is equal to x minus 7. So I get 8 plus 7 is x plus 2x. By taking this to the other side and taking negative 7 to the left side. As you know from previous lessons, it's better to think in terms of adding a number rather than taking it to the other side, but it's fine. So you get 15 is equal to 3x. That makes x 5. So here it is. The next question is similar but not equation, inequality. 12 less than 3x minus 12. So taking this negative 12 on the other side, we get 12 plus 12 is less than or equal to 3x. 24 is less than or equal to 3x. Divide by 3, you get 8 is less than or equal to x. Or maybe you can write x is greater or equal to 8. Clearly, we have two right answers. If something like this happens on exam, you just pick one of those and it's fine. Next, what is the perimeter of the given figure? So here we have a semicircle and a diameter. We need to find the perimeter of the semicircle. Now, semicircle is practically a circle, but then you divide it in two. So let's find the perimeter of a circle is actually 2r pi. 2r pi. But because we need only half of that, we divide by 2. So that means it will be r times pi, the radius, which is 4 times the radius. The number pi is 3.14, but just for sake of calculations, it's given here to take it as 3. So it's 12. Now 12 is only this part and not the diameter. And the diameter is 2r, which is 2 times 4, which makes it 8. So what would be the total perimeter? Would be 12 plus 8, that's 20. Which of the following pairs satisfies this equation? So you get x squared plus y squared is 25. Here the easiest solution would be you need to test. So we test it by substituting. If you test 1 squared plus 24 squared, that would be 1 plus 576, which is way more than 25, right? So if you test all of these, this won't work because it's a famous case. It's under B, so 4 squared plus 3 squared, that's 16, plus 9, that is 25. And next is solving this problem. So changing the subject of the formula. Well, let's copy the formula. First, we get y minus 2 all plus 1 should be x. Well, that means y minus 2 is x minus 1. Then I square both sides. Here I subtracted 1 from both sides. So I get y minus 2 is x minus 1 all squared. which means y minus 2 is, now this is the binomial square. We solve this kind of problems. It's not x squared minus 1. So it's x squared minus 2x plus 1, and then add 2. So I end up with y is x squared minus 2x plus 3. Now, some of these steps needs to be checked, but that's for later on in high school. We end up with this answer, x squared minus 2x plus 3. It looks like it's under E. Find the next term. Well, 5 to 8, you can try to find the term-to-term rule. 5 to 8, you add 3. 8 to 11, you add 3. 11 to 14, you add 3. 14 to 17, you add 3. So now next term would be you add 3 more, that's 20. A probability question. What is the probability of getting 2 heads when a coin is tossed 4 times? Well, we can use a bit of counting principles, but we can also make this table. So the first tossing has 2 options, heads, tails. The second tossing has 2 options for each output, so that's 4. Third tossing has another 2 options for each output, and the fourth tossing, so you can toss a coin 4 times. This is what you get. Now, how many heads do we want? Well, we want to have only 2 heads, which for us means the valid cases are these 3. And for tails, again, here we have 2 heads, and here we have 2 heads, and here we have 2 heads, which means we have 6 outputs out of 16. Divide by 4 by 2, so you get 3 over 8. Simplify both by 2, you get 3 over 8. So the final answer is just 3 over 8. Which of the following lines passes through the point A with coordinates 2 and 3? Well, we can use the formula, but actually it's easier to just test. So x2, y3, so 2 minus 3 should be 1. Negative 3 is 1. This is testing for under A. Under B, 2 plus 3 is 5, which indeed is 5. Under C, y, that's 3 minus 2, that's negative 1. 1 is negative 1. This is not working. We already found it, it's under B, but if you want, you can test the rest. How do you find the slope of the line? This one. So the slope of the line, this is 4, and then find the parameter A. How do you find the slope of the line? If the equation is given like this is the slope of the line. So we practically want to leave y alone. So in our case, we get ay plus 8x is 5, which means ay is negative 8x plus 5. Divide both sides by a, you get y is negative 8 over ax plus 5 over a. We actually don't care about the last part. We only care about this one because that is given. So negative 8 over a, which is the slope. So this should be the slope, which means it's 4. Now negative 8 is equal to 4a. A is negative 8 over 4. That's negative 2. So A is negative 2. There are 25 teachers and 75 students in a school. what is the ratio of the number of teachers to the number of students? A simple ratio, so 25 teachers to 75 students. Of course, we need to simplify here, maybe by 25, so we get 1 to 3. So the ratio of the number of teachers to the number of students is 1 to 3. Two to the power x plus 1 is a, and now we want this a squared minus, let's use it first, the formula. We have a squared minus b squared, which we can rewrite it as a minus b times a plus b. Now, using the substitutions here, you get 2 to the power x plus 1 minus b, which is 2 to the power x minus 1. This is the first part A. And then the second part, 2 to the power x plus 1 plus 2 to the power x minus 1, which is practically cancel, and you get 2 to the power x plus 1 minus 2 to the power x plus 1 on the first term. On the second, you get 2 times 2 to the power x. So you get cancel. That means 2 times 2 times 2 to the power x, which is 2 to the power x plus 2. How do we get that x plus 2? You just add the powers, x plus 1 plus 1. It's x plus 2. Mr. Brown needs 8 eggs in order to make 2 cakes. What is the total number of cakes Mrs. Brown needs 8 eggs in order to make 2 cakes? What is the total number of cakes she should make with 20 eggs? Well, 8 eggs over 2 cakes, simple ratio, is the same as 20 eggs over x cakes. So a simple ratio. Now we can cross multiply. 8x is 40, x is 40 over 8, that's 5. So we can make 5 cakes. Or otherwise, you could have thought 80 eggs will make 2 cakes, another 8 eggs will make another 2 cakes, so 4, and then you're left with 4 eggs, which is half of the amount that's given. That means one more egg, one more cake, so 5. A linear equation involving fractions. If you multiply all numbers by 6, you end up with 6 times x over 3 minus 6 times x plus 1 over 2 equals 6 times 2x minus 1 over 6 plus 6 times 1, that's 6. Now, if you simplify 6 and 3 to 6 over 2, that's 3. 6 over 6, that's 1. And let's see what we get. We get 2x minus 3 times x plus 1. It's 2x minus 1 plus 6. 2x minus 3x minus 3, that's 2x plus 5. If you want, you can cancel this and this. And finally, you get minus 3x is equal 5 and 3, that's 8. So x is 8 over 3, but negative. So negative 8 over 3. Find x for this shape. Now this is a right angle triangle. We can use the Pythagorean theorem, which is this one here. So now we are looking for x, but actually first I want to find this side. Let's say this is A or C. So now, according to the Pythagorean theorem, for the smaller triangle, this one here, what do we get? We get c squared is 6 squared plus 3 squared. So c squared is 36 plus 9, c squared is 45. You can see c is square root of 45. And then we need to find x, but now x is for the other triangle, which according to the Pythagorean theorem, the hypotenuse squared is the sum of the other sides squared. So we get x squared is 16 plus 45, which means x squared is 61. So x is square root of 16 under C. Find the height of the trapezoid. How do we find the height of a trapezoid? Well, we have the formula for area, but in this case, it won't be that helpful. In this case, because it's a trapezoid, a right angle trapezoid, we can just drop the height here. And what do we have? Well, it's 18 from here to here, and 10 from here to here. So the missing side is actually, let's say this is x. X is 18 minus 10, that's 8. Great, now we have a triangle. We have a triangle, one right angle triangle, not any triangle, but right one. This is 10, this is 8, and the height. Well, 10 squared is h squared plus 8 squared. 100 is h squared plus 64. H squared is 100 minus 64. H squared is 36. So this is 6. The height was 6. And the last question, if A, B, C are positive integers, and these are the numbers, so then find the value of C. Now, because these are positive integers, the numbers, let's copy 2A plus B plus C, 2A plus B minus C, that's 29. Right, now knowing that the first term here, right, I can simplify a bit, make it x plus c, yx, you'll see now, because 2a plus b and 2a plus b are just natural numbers again, as adding two natural numbers ends up to, again, a natural number. So we have two options. Because the first number is again a natural one, the second one must be positive. It cannot be negative. If it's negative, then the number should be negative 29. So we have two options. Either x plus c is 1 and x minus c is 29, one option, or option 2, which we'll see later. Let's solve this system, add up everything. You get 2x is 30, which means x is 15. Now, if x is 15, you get that x 15 plus c is 1, so c is negative 14. And that is clearly not the case. And the second option would be if x plus c is 29, so x plus c is 29, and x minus c is 1. Again, this is a system. Add up everything. You get 2x is 15, 2x is 30. So x is 15. And then if I substitute on the first equation, I get 15 plus c is 29. So c is 14. Actually, the value of c is 14. If someone is wondering, is there any other option? Because 29 is a prime number, we don't have any other options. It must be either 1 times 29 or 29 times 1. There is also the option of being negative numbers, but that we canceled in the beginning. Right, that was it for today's exam. See you on Saturday or next Wednesday. Bye.